Jose and I are in Sifu's program, and Sifu and I are in Jose's program called Connected Leaders Academy. And from what I understand, Jose just hit recently. Recently, we hit well, now it's over 500. Thank you, Sifu. Have a great day. Thank you for speaking. I forgot to say thank you. Back to the 500 people. Jose just celebrated 500 people, and I don't even know. I can't even keep, I don't even know how many countries, but I'm going to let Jose tell you all about that. Best networking group I've ever belonged to, and the only one I've actually belonged to for how many years now? 3.5?
Three and a half.
Three and a bit. 3 and a bit. So I'm a founding member. I love that title. Doctor, founding member of Connected Leaders Academy, Marianne Pageant. There, that's short. Anyways,
it's Reverend Doctor, founding member of the Connected Leaders Academy, Marianne Pageant.
There you go. See, we're just playing around, but it is an amazing group. Literally, people all over the world. I've had several, as you can see, I've had several of them here on my summits in my books. Are you going to be in my next book, Jose? Which is
let's chat. Yeah,
it's Entrepreneur Secrets. I have probably about 3 more spots available, and yeah, let me know if you're interested. And that's it for me. And I will now stay quiet and let you listen to the amazing Jose Escobar, Dr. Jose Escobar. I'm just gonna call him doctor. Go for it.
That would be nice. I'm not a doctor, full disclosure, so don't. That's not a title I desire to have it, but I haven't earned it. So stay tuned. But anyway, I will say, first of all, as always, before I even open my mouth about anything on the topic of sales today, I want to just take a second to honor Reverend Dr. Marianne Pageant. I want to tell you that I so greatly appreciate you, our friendship, our brother sisterhood that we have here. You're just phenomenal, and you're a stellar serial entrepreneur that really cares about other people, right? There's people that are transactional, salesy, that just care about another deal. Marianne, I can tell you, cares about actually helping and serving people. And your heart of gold is very clear, very transparent. You're a very genuine person. And that means a lot to me. And I want to grow and build with people like that. So the fact that you're putting me on your stage, I just appreciate that, and I am grateful. So thank you. All right. Now, in terms of today, I'm going to open up with 2 things. Number one, I could have easily been drinking out of this bottle of water, but can I tell you something? This bottle of water does not say Connected Leaders Academy. All right. So what I do is, when I drink water, I drink it out of this bad boy that says Connected Leaders Academy on it. And I drink it. And I drink it slowly. And there you go. Love it. Entrepreneur's Bookshelf Journal. I could easily be drinking it like this. But no, I drink it like this. And I specifically drink it slowly. And I put my fingers below the logo. And whenever I'm on any kind of a summit like this, or I'm doing a webinar, or running my calls that I facilitate, or a sales call, or a coaching call, whatever, guess what I do? When I drink my water, I drink it nice and slow like this. And then I put it in front of the camera like this before I put it down. Oh, look at those subliminal messages. Anyway, that's marketing, sales, branding 101. Okay. Now, another thing I want to open up with very quickly is, I want to mention, first of all, the problem is not so much the things that we don't know, right? The real issue, the real challenge, the real massive elephant in the room is the things we don't know that we don't know. The things that we don't know that we don't know. That's the bigger problem. So if you feel that you're lacking sales skills, that is a problem. But the bigger problem is the nuance, minor details, the things that stack up, the secret sauce, the ninja secrets of sales that you really don't know that you don't know. And that's a whole nother level of problem. So I'm gonna share with you guys here very openly. You see this right here? This right here is one page of things that I wrote down literally right before today's training to share with you some of my favorite thoughts that I concocted very carefully for today's session on sales. I could have just come to you with a previous PowerPoint that I've created. I could have come to you with all of the 26 years of experience of sales and just said whatever came to my heart. But I said, you know what? Today I'm in the, because I love sales and this is such a really, really strong topic for me. I said, let me just put some of the best stuff that I know and I'm going to put it on one page and I'm going to go through it with you guys and really give you two steaks at one time today. Okay, so I'm going to feed you two steaks at one time when it comes to sales. Hopefully you can digest it because it is a lot of meat and potatoes that I'm about to give you right now. Now, if you don't have a pen and a paper,
I love it.
now would be the time to get up and go get it. Okay, so I'm going to give you 30 seconds to go get a piece of paper and a pen, or maybe set up your Google blank piece of paper on your tech laptop and get ready to take some notes, because the stuff that I'm about to tell you right now is really, really strong. I have paid thousands of dollars over many years. I've had coaches, mentors. I've taken all kinds of courses and programs. I've been in hundreds and hundreds, if not over 1,000 physical rooms by this point, over many, many years, over 2 decades of just going into places with the intent, outside of personal and professional development, more specifically sales. Because what I understand, folks, and hopefully you've gotten your pen and pad and sat back down. What I understand, folks, is that in order to grow a big business, you have to be a master salesperson. And one of the biggest contributing factors to entrepreneurs that have a successful, scaling, growing, fruitful, prosperous business are people that are masterful at sales. Not okay, not good, not average, not great. I'm talking about the next step of great. I'm talking about masterful. And masterful doesn't mean you've perfected sales, because nobody will ever perfect sales, because sales is always evolving and there's always new things you can learn, and we never arrive. So let me be clear about that. We never arrive in anything, right? But I've got to say, at some point, you got to get to the masterful level of sales. And if you don't plan to do it and you don't want to get to a masterful level of sales, then let me give you this advice. You better have the funds and the revenue to hire masterful salespeople, because you're either going to have to hire them or you're going to have to be them. It is what it is, right? Initially, you're going to have to be a salesperson. So anybody who owns a business is a salesperson, unless you have a team of people that are selling for you and you're no longer selling. So that's kind of the foundation of what I want to explain today. So I'm going to cover a couple of foundational pieces, 101 pieces first, and I'll kind of level it up as we go. And I'm going to have a hard stop at 11:30 because I have a call at 11:30. So with that being said, something to consider when it comes to sales is your tone, tempo, and posture. Okay. You have to monitor your tone. If you are the person who constantly talks like this, like me, and I'm usually very monotone and I have this deep voice and I can just talk like this the entire time and sound like a robot, if that is you naturally, you have to find ways to go down and go up with your tonality, right? High and low. So for example, if I'm trying to have a sales conversation with somebody, I would be like, Marianne, so let me tell you this. How many times have you tried to go to the grocery store only to end up in a line full of people?
I'm telling you.
Isn't that annoying? Can I tell you something? Can I tell you something, Marianne?
Yes.
There's a better way. There's a better way to do it. It's called Uber Eats. All right. So anyway, you get what I'm saying, right? So you notice how I went high and I went low, and I'm using tonality. I am keeping you engaged. I'm keeping you involved in the conversation. The reality is people's attention spans are like this when you're doing a sales call and you're having a conversation with people in sales, and you have to make sure you're filling those indents of lack of attention. And a way to do that is using tonality. A way to do that is to speed up and slow down your talk. Sometimes you're talking way too slow, and sometimes you're talking way too fast and people get lost in what you're saying. So you got to make sure that you're talking slow, you're talking fast, you're slowing it down, and you're kind of changing things up. And you are doing it with posture, not necessarily standing straight kind of posture, but posture of authority, posture of confidence. You have to be oozing confidence out of your pores. It has to be magnetic. People need to feel that confidence coming right through the screen, hitting them right in the chest. If they don't feel the confidence off of you, you have lost the sale and you're just talking. And you're pretty much talking to a wall, because no matter what you say, you're not going to close that sale. You have to have posture. You have to have confidence. You have to keep people's attention by using the proper tonality, by using tempo, by using people's names. That's another huge thing. Are you using the name of the person? When I'm talking to Marianne, I'm going to say, so when was the last time, Marianne, that you actually blank, blank, blank? You know, and then I'm going to say at some point, if I ever see Marianne, like for example, right now, it looks like she's writing or she's doing something on the screen. If you see her like that, then what I'm going to say is, so the other day I went to the store, and can you believe something, Marianne? And as soon as I use her name, generally people are going to stop in their tracks, looking at their cell phone. If they're kind of looking away from the screen on their cell phone, or they're maybe you see them like this, kind of dozing out, they're probably like zoning out, thinking of something else. Or you see them kind of like this, like all of a sudden they're much straighter, they're leaning more forward into the computer, they're a little too close, and you can tell that they're looking past you, meaning they're looking at their laptop because they're really typing something or looking at, you know, screens. And what most people don't realize is when you're talking to them on a sales call, you can see the different screens light up, and it kind of reflects off of them sometimes, especially if they have glasses. So if I can tell that they're on their laptop, fumbling with their laptop, or they're looking at their phone, or they're thinking about yesterday, or they're thinking about the call they're about to have after me, or they start kind of looking out their window because the trash truck just pulled up taking their truck, whatever it is, those are the perfect moments to use their name. And I've got to say something, Marianne, and whatever they're doing, they come right back to you. And that is a really, really important little ninja secret when it comes to sales. You have to keep their attention, and you keep the attention by another thing called this, hand gestures. You notice I do this a lot when I'm selling, when I'm talking, I'm doing this a lot, because this keeps you involved and keeps you engaged. Tonality, speed, confidence, posture, the usage of name, the hand gestures, right? These things do matter. And can I tell you what else matters? Smiling. You have to smile during a sales call. You cannot talk and sell like this the entire time. This is my normal state, okay? When I am normal, this is what I look like. Do I look happy to you? No. I have lines here. These lines look angry. So when I'm selling to somebody, I have to kind of like loosen up my eyebrows, and I have to smile a little bit more, and I have to be friendlier, and I have to just be, I have to like make sure that I come across the right way, right? Because the friendlier you are, the kinder you look, the more you smile, the more you use their name, the more they what? Know, like, and who can finish my sentence? Trust. Yes. The more they know, like, and trust you. And people do business with people they know, like, and trust. It is just that simple. So very, very important. I'm giving you one-on-one stuff right now, but you know what's crazy is most people in sales do not use foundational principles. You know why? Because they try to get so complicated and so fancy with their sales abilities that they forget to go back to the basics. And the basics can work wonders if you just implement it. Another thing, stop using high-level verbiage when you're selling. Acronyms. You know, did you know that the LML of this is going to be, you know, like nobody knows what that means. Maybe you know the insider jargon, you know, the jargon that people use to describe certain aspects of their technology. You know how many people I've talked to that were talking to me about AI, or were talking to me about marketing, and we're using all of this high-level verbiage that went right over my head. It went completely right over my head. Had they lowered the level of language to a third grade level, they would have probably got my business. But they tried to sound smart. They tried to sound fancy. They tried to sound very eloquent and sophisticated. And while that might add some value when it comes to me seeing you as an expert and as an authority, and an influence, right? You're actually helping me decide that maybe this is not for me because I don't fully understand what you're offering. Whenever you're presenting something, you got to present and you have to communicate your value at a third grade level. An easy way to do that is to write down your presentation, your offer, whatever it is you're trying to give, and you give that to, if you have a third grader in your home or a fourth grader or a fifth grader, give it to them and have them read it and say, hey, what am I trying to say here? Or just do the pitch to them. What am I trying to say here? And see if they understand it. Because the reality is you lose people. And a confused mind will never what? Buy. Yes, correct. And then they say bye-bye. That's correct, Marianne. That's exactly right. A confused mind will never buy, and then they say bye-bye and they go on to the next thing. So that's just a reality. So I covered tone, tempo, posture, confidence. I covered third grade level language, right? Remember, confidence doesn't just show up. You don't just become confident in sales. Confidence is directly linked to your skill set. You have to have skill set in sales, meaning you have to be good. And if you're not good, you're not going to be confident. And if you're not confident, you're not going to close many deals. And if you don't close many deals, guess what? You don't like sales all of a sudden. And then people say, you don't make money. And then people say, oh, hey, I have this opportunity for sales. Oh, I'm not a good salesperson. Or, hey, how's your business going? I just hate selling. I will guarantee, maybe I should use guarantee. I am extremely confident that 9 out of 10 people who don't like sales, it is simply because they're not really good at it. I believe that anybody who is really good at sales is really skilled in sales and by default is confident. And when you're confident and it's working and you're doing well in it, all of a sudden passion and desire to do it grows over time. So that's what I would say. Get the skill set, okay? If you're not good at sales, it's okay. Not everybody is. We all start somewhere, but get out there and get the skill sets. You know how many books are out there to develop your skill set? You know how many courses and programs exist out there on sales? You know how many coaches and mentors are out there to help teach sales? You know how many events, boot camps, workshops, masterminds, you name it, webinars are out there on sales? I can't even count. It's endless. Oh, well, I don't have the money. Oh, come on. Come on. You know what? You know why I say come on? Because you can go to the public library and go in the business section and you can get books for free. And then you can read it. And then you can, but I don't have the time. Oh, come on. There, I say it again. Oh, come on. You know why? Because at the end of the day, we are going to find and create time for the things that we find to be a priority. If you do not see developing your skill set in sales to ultimately grow your business, to ultimately make more money, to provide for your family and do those things as a priority, I don't know what else to tell you. I can't help you. You have to be willing to invest the time and the financial resources over time to develop the skill set of sales. So eventually you close more deals and you improve, right? So hopefully that is clear there. Another thing in sales is mirroring people. Many of you might have heard of this before. If I'm talking to somebody and they're like this, you know what I'm going to do as I'm talking? I'm going to go like this. Absolutely. So in my opinion, frankly, and I'm going to start doing this too. And they may not even realize, most people don't even realize that you're mirroring them. But for whatever reason, they feel more connected to you because there is a psychological component to mirroring, copying what they're doing. If they get excited, you get excited. If they are more toned down like this, then you speak to them toned down like this, right? That's called mirroring. Very, very effective, very, very important. Remember, there's a big difference. Some people will say it's a fine line. I say there's a big difference between manipulation and influence when it comes to sales. We are influencing people to make a decision. We're not manipulating people. There's a big, big difference, okay? So I think we're there on that. Another thing, asking questions. You have to ask questions. Super important. As a matter of fact, I'm going to read something here that I set aside for you guys today. I'm going to read you 2 pages, but these 2 pages are way better than how I would have said it. So I'm just going to read exactly what it says in this book, and you can find this book anywhere. It's called The Way of the Wolf. If you haven't read this book, you have to read this book. It's a phenomenal book on sales by Jordan Belfort, right? It says here, you know, how many of you out there, whether you're watching live or catching a replay, how many of you have heard the saying, sell me this pen? How many of you have ever been in an interview and somebody says to you, sell me this pen? I've been told that before in an interview, sell me this pen. And you know what's crazy is most people that are asking you to sell me this pen, they suck at sales anyway. But anyway, my point is very simple. Sell me this pen, right? So I'm going to read this and follow me, okay? Just follow me. Pay attention to what I'm about to read to you. Sell me this pen. The first time I sprung this on a cocky young salesman, I was sitting behind my desk in my office in Stratton. And what I got in return was a very telling response. You see this pen? Chirped the cocky young recruit, sounding like he just walked off a used car lot. This is the most amazing pen money can buy. It can write upside down. It'll never run out of ink. It feels great in your hand. That sounds pretty good, I've got to say. Here, check it out for yourself. Tell me how great it feels. And with that, he leaned forward in his seat and extended his arm across my desktop and offered me the same disposable pen that I'd handed to him a moment earlier to begin the test. Playing along, I grabbed the pen, rolled it around in my fingers for a few seconds until it slid into its usual writing position. Pretty damn amazing, right? He pressed. It feels like a pen, I replied flatly. That's exactly my point, he exclaimed, ignoring my lukewarm response. That's how a great pen is supposed to feel, like it's been a part of you for years. Anyway, it's obvious that you and this pen were made for each other. That's pretty good too. So I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to take 30% off of the regular price. But he raised his right index finger in the air for a moment, only if you buy it right now. Otherwise, it has to go back up to the normal price. Either way, it's a really great deal. But at 30% off, it's the deal of the century. What do you say? What do I say? I shot back. You mean besides the fact that you're obviously completely full of crap? I changed the word there. No response. That would be Strattonite. Strattonite just sat there completely still, with a panic-stricken look on his face. That wasn't a rhetorical question. You want me to ignore how completely full of crap you are? Yes or no? He slowly opened his mouth to speak, but no words came out. He just sat there with his mouth hanging open. I'll take that as a yes, I continued, deciding to let the kid off the hook. So putting that small detail aside for the time being, I will say that I'm not in the market for the pen right now. Now I'll read that one more time. I'll take that as a yes. I continue deciding to let the kid off the hook. So putting that small detail aside for the time being, I will say that I'm not in the market for the pen right now. I don't want one. I don't need one. I barely ever use one. And in truth, if I ever do decide to go out and buy a pen, it won't be a piece of crap like this. I'd probably pick up a Mont Blanc or something. But how could you possibly know that? I continued, zeroing in on the main point of the exercise. In fact, how could you know anything about me? From the second you opened your mouth, all you did was spew out a bunch of cheap sales talk. The pen is this, I chirped, mocking his used car salesman rap. The pen is that. The pen writes upside down. It's your long-lost brother. Blah, 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 blah. Even if you put aside how utterly ridiculous that sounds, did it ever occur to you to maybe ask a few questions before you attempted to ram the pen down my throat? Interesting. Like, am I even in the market for a pen? Do I have a certain price range in mind? Do I prefer one type of pen over another? I mean, think about it for a second. How could you try to sell me something without knowing the first thing about me? It completely defies logic. The would-be strap knight nodded his head sheepishly. So what should I have said? You tell me, I shot back. Just then the door swung open, and this is where it ends, folks. Stay with me here. Just then the door swung open, and Danny walked into the office, wearing a $2,000 suit and a cynical expression. You almost done with this? He asked. Almost, I replied, but I'm actually glad you popped in. Your timing is perfect. I need you to do something for me. What's that? He answers cautiously. I want you to sell me this pen. I declared, grabbing another pen off my desktop and extended my hand towards him. Danny shot me a look. You want me to sell you this pen? Seriously? Yeah, I fired back. Show the kid how it's done. Sell me this pen. Fine, I'll sell it to you, he muttered, grabbing the pen and taking a moment to examine it. Then, all at once, he completely changed his demeanor and flashed me a warm smile and said in a respectful tone, So tell me, Jordan, how long have you been in the market for a pen? I'm not in the market for a pen, I replied. I don't use pens. Really? Well, then you can have your pen. Then you can have your lousy pen back, he snapped, tossing the pen back onto my desktop. Then he looked at the kid and said, I don't sell things to people who don't need them. I leave that to the novices like you. That was 2 pages of this book. But I got to tell you, the moral of that story is you have to ask questions. Only sell things to people that desire to buy it. Hello. Stop trying to sell things to people that don't need what you have. If you're getting a bunch of no's, I can tell you something very clearly. Either A, what you're selling is not needed to that particular person that you're trying to sell to. B, you have no sales skills, and the person really does need what you have to offer, but they're not going to buy from you because you don't have the ability to sell them, meaning you're not articulating the value of your product well enough, right? There are millions of people, and this is a really interesting point. There are millions of people out there right now, that are ready, willing, and able to buy the product that you offer. You know what's crazy? They just don't know you exist. Oh boy, mic drop moment. That's actually a sip of coffee moment. Give me a second. They just don't know you exist. You have to be omnipresent everywhere, as often as possible, visible to people, where they know who you are, what you're about, how you can help them. This is Jose Escobar. This is what I do. This is how I can help you. You have to have that everywhere. And the stars will align. So be omnipresent, be everywhere, right? Super, super important. Now, I hope that message lands clearly when it comes to asking questions and selling to people who want to buy your stuff. But you need to know with extreme clarity who those people are. You got to know who your target audience is. You need to know what they want, what they desire, what they don't want. And then you speak their language, and then you do all of these pieces that are called skills in sales, and that's when the magic happens. Okay, so another thing I want to talk about is the mindset of a salesperson. What's interesting is most people don't think like a salesperson. You have to actually make a transition into a salesperson mentality, a salesperson mindset. Actually, salespeople that are masterful think differently than somebody who has a business who doesn't like to sell but is doing it because they have to. They think very, very differently. Now, we've all heard it before. ABC. Can you say it? Who can say it? ABC. Always be closing. We've heard that before. It sounds icky. It sounds yucky. It sounds very salesy. It sounds used car salesy and all that. But can I tell you something? To some extent, that's a real thing. And what I mean by that is it's a mindset. It doesn't necessarily mean that you're always going to ask for the sale in every opportunity where you're walking around and you're saying, hey, you want to buy my stuff? Hey, you want to buy my stuff? That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is to always be closing. The way I entertain that statement, it's a mindset. You have to have the hat of a salesperson who's always looking to solve a problem, which means you're influencing somebody in a productive manner to say, hey, if you have this challenge, I have this thing where I can help you, and you should probably take advantage of it. And let's see how we can make that work, right? You have to wear that hat all the time. I don't care if you're at the bar, you're at an event, you're walking out of church, you are with your family at the ballpark somewhere, you're in a Commanders game, go Commanders, 2025 season, Super Bowl champions, stay tuned. Just had to throw that in there. I don't care where you are and what you're doing. What I can tell you is that you have to have that mindset of sales at all times, because you don't know where that person's going to be that you're going to meet. That's going to be that next big client. You just don't know, because rule number one in business is to make a profit. Rule number two in business is to stay in business. And the only way those two things happen is if you're getting people paying you money. That's just a reality. Yes, people can say, oh, well, I just want to serve people. I want to help people. Yes, of course. So do I. That's the heart of what we're doing. But in order to serve people and help them, you got to sell them something. That's just the reality. You have to give them your value. And by giving them your value, they give you money. That's called a transaction. Does that mean you have to be transactional? No. I find that most people who say things like that and are very adamant about, oh, that's too, usually people who are like that are people who are not crushing it in sales, meaning their business isn't exponentially growing. So, and of course, people can challenge me on that, and that's okay. We can have debate anytime you like, in person over coffee, or night owl over a cold beer, or maybe, we can jump on a virtual coffee and chat about it. But I got to tell you, the mindset of a salesperson is one, and it's a very unique one. And we have to shift. We have to flip the switch to think like a salesperson in everything that we do, because sales is the foundation to scaling a massive business. That's what I believe. So I've covered that. So very, very important. Another thing that you need to consider is sales scripts. Too many salespeople are winging it. They're just having a conversation and saying whatever comes to their mind on the spot. Now, some people operate really well that way. That's awesome. If that's you, kudos to you. But I got to tell you, even if you operate that way, you're just naturally good at being on the fly and you're really witty and you can just say whatever fast, quickly, kudos to you. That's not me. But even if that is you, I can tell you right now, you still will be better if you have sales scripts. And what I mean by sales scripts is very simple. Just say, next time you have a sales call, I want you to record yourself and tell the person that you're selling to, the prospect, just be, hey, if you don't mind, I'm just going to record this for training purposes. Is that okay? Because you got to ask for permission. You don't just record people, right? And of course, they're going to say yes. I haven't had one person that I've tried to record with their consent that's ever said no to me. Not one. So, and not that I record many people, not anymore. I used to do it all the time, but not anymore. But you have to do that. So then you record your actual conversation. And then you pull apart all of the moving parts of everything you said, and you put it in a written format as a script. And as you see this over and over and over, you're going to start to memorize the things that you should be saying. You're going to have a framework of the beginning to the end. There should be somewhere between 5 and 12 bullet points in the framework of your sales process. This is the setting at ease. This is the getting to know the person and asking the right questions. This is the going into a little bit about who I am so I can build that know, like, and trust and credibility with them. This is so you start to, set the stage for the process. So if your call gets derailed at any time, or your in-person meeting gets derailed at any time, and you kind of go off track, you know exactly how to get yourself back on course because you have a framework. I'm on point 4 right now. I'm on point 5. Wherever you fall off, or wherever you get distracted, or wherever things don't go well, you know exactly how to get right back on track. You also have word tracks. You know exactly what you're going to say. You know how many professional speakers on stages have quotes, poems, stories that they have memorized to say because it is part of their keynote. Same rule applies in selling. You got to have the go-tos of things you say along the path in your sales journey, in your sales process. And that is a masterful salesperson. Out, and you gotta practice. You gotta read these things out loud. You gotta rewrite them. The more times you rewrite it and you tweak it and tweak it and tweak it, it becomes version 1, version 2, version 3. And you start to get better and better and better. And you read it out loud. You record it, you hear it, you write it, you read it out loud. It's this vicious cycle of improving your sales scripts. And all of a sudden, I'm telling you, sky's the limit there. The next thing is role playing. You got to role play. You got to say it out loud. Do you know how many people hate role playing because it just sucks? Me, I hate role playing. But I became good because of role playing. It's very important. Call a friend. Call a sideline business partner, an acquaintance. You know, you can even do it with a client, somebody who you're close to. That became as a client. You know, most clients become friends. So, and practice and role play, very, very important. The next thing is mentorship. Who is coaching you? Who? Sorry about that. Somebody's calling me on Facebook. So who is coaching you? Who is mentoring you? Right? Super important. You gotta have some kind of a something there, right? You gotta have somebody that you're plugging into. I never hire a coach that doesn't have a coach. That's another golden nugget. Mentorship, books, courses, events. You have to develop the skill set. If you don't have the available financial resources right now to improve your skill set, I can tell you 3 things you can do right now. 3 things you can do right now that require extremely little to no money. Number 1 is get a library card and go get some books from the library on sales. Number 2 is go on YouTube and every single day spend 30 minutes on YouTube watching sales skills. You can look up Jordan Belfort, you can look up Jeffrey Gitomer, you can look up Grant Cardone. There's an endless stream of people you can go find sales videos on. Go watch that on YouTube. 30 minutes a day keeps poverty away, okay? When it comes to sales. And then the next thing is, the third thing you can do is find out who in your network, who in your circle is a good salesperson, basically better than you. Okay. They don't have to be this master, high level, world renowned salesperson. Just find somebody who's 3 to 5 steps ahead of you. Okay. Find somebody who is ahead of you that you just know they're better salespeople than you, and ask them, hey, do you mind if I were to jump on a virtual coffee with you? Do you mind if I were to jump on a phone call with you? Or do you mind if I take you out to lunch? You know, or for a coffee in person, and can we sit down and talk about sales, and maybe I can ask you some questions to see how you can maybe support me in that. Something as simple as that. And you know what most people are going to say? Yes, why not? Sure. But again, most people don't do these things, which is why most people aren't master salespeople. So moving on, the next thing to be aware of: people invest in solutions no matter what the economy is doing. Oh boy. People invest in solutions no matter what the economy is doing. I know I'm ruffling some feathers right now because there's so many excuses out there. Oh, people are not going to buy my thing right now because of the inflation. People are not going to buy my thing right now because of the circumstances of A, B, and C. Right? And don't get me wrong, these are all realities. But again, it goes back to mindset. How you show up and what you do is contingent upon your mindset. It's all intrinsic, not extrinsic. Right? So I'm telling you right now, economic cycles, right, which is kind of what we're going through, are constant. Economic cycles are constant. There's always going to be something. COVID, the flu, the swine flu, you know, the 2018 crash in the market, you know, the presidential race, and this, you know, a president comes in and somebody doesn't like. And I mean, I can go on a story on and on and on of all kinds of things that have happened. A war, this war, that war, you know, the list goes on. But can I tell you something? No matter what the cycle of what's going on, business will continue. Business will continue. The question is, what are you going to do about it? It's not a matter of our circumstances and things going to happen that could affect the economy and the state of finances and whether people are, saving money or not. The question is, what are you going to do about it? Demand is going to be there no matter what is going on. I'll say that one more time. Demand is going to be there no matter what is going on. And if your product and service cannot be sold during a recession or during a tough time or during, scary times, can I tell you something? Maybe you should increase the value of your product and service. You know why I say that? Because premium buyers will always buy. That's a golden nugget right there. Premium buyers are going to keep buying no matter what. So if somebody isn't buying your stuff during a time that's tough, maybe you're catering to the wrong audience. Or maybe it's time for you to create a second higher level product or service to what you're offering. So I believe, and you don't have to believe what I believe. If you believe what I believe, the world would be a boring place because everybody would think the same thing, right? So it's okay to disagree. But I think that economic fears are really more of a mental block in some ways. And what I mean by that is, well, I'm not going to be able to sell to people because of this, because of that. Maybe they don't have the money for this, or maybe they're more concerned about that. Will people buy my thing? I think it goes back to failure, fear of failure, a fear of rejection, and a fear of visibility. 3 very real fears. And these are all very real fears. These are things that even I have had doubts in my mind, right? But you know what I do when those thoughts come into my mind? I change the channel very quickly. And we all have the same ability to change the channel in our minds very quickly. But some people don't want to do that. Some people put their feet up and they get some popcorn and they maybe get a glass of wine or a beer and they enjoy that channel of fear. And they hang out there for days, weeks, months, years. It's time to change the channel and have the courage to overcome the fear and live in faith and not fear, because faith and fear cannot coincide. It's like oil and vinegar, right? I think that's what it is, or oil and water, or vinegar and water, one of those two, whatever that is, right? One last point I'll make when it comes to, and I'm talking about excuses here. If you don't see the underlying, thread of what I'm saying is the excusitis, the disease that a lot of people suffer from. I can tell you one last point here. Lean times breed strong businesses. If you can make it during a recession, during economic turmoil, during COVID, during all these things, you can make it through that with your business. Can I tell you something? You have something. And you will last. Because if you can last through lean times, you can last through anything. Oh my goodness. You will actually crush it during any other time because you can last in the hard time. So is anyone out there resonating with anything I'm saying? I hope you are. I hope this is adding value to some of you out there, and especially if you're catching the replay.
All of
it. So I'm going to move on to a couple of non-negotiables. I think these are things that are very, very important. One of them is prospecting. Okay, you can't sell if you have nobody to sell to. you know how many business owners out there have nobody to sell to? If you have nobody to sell to, that is a major, major, massive problem. And the solution is simple. Go out there and talk to more people. But you know what's crazy is so many people are afraid of talking to people. And it goes back to the fear. You have to get over the hump of fear of talking to people. And some of the things that hold us back mentally is, oh my gosh, if I talk to this person, they're going to think I'm salesy. Oh, if I say this, then they might think I'm crazy. Or they might think I'm trying to take advantage of them. Or they might judge me on this. Or they might say no to me and, oh my gosh, I don't know if I can take the no right now. Whatever it is, we have all these thoughts in our mind that are going to prevent us from doing the daily non-negotiable of prospecting. It is absolutely hypercritical. It is a non-negotiable. It is a must. Every single day, you have to be prospecting at least 5 people, minimum. New people, new blood. Can I tell you something? It's easier to raise a new baby than raise a dead. To go back to people who said no to you and start going to talk to a whole new person. So many of us are spending 80% of our prospecting time reaching out to people who said no or are stonewalling us and ignoring us because we feel we're doing the activity. When you can easily go over here and do the opposite, 80-20, 80% new people, 20% follow-up. Very, very important. Now, since I used the word follow-up, that's my next point. The fortune is in the follow-up, as they say. So you have to follow up. You know how many people give up when somebody says no? You know how many people immediately, when somebody gives them an objection, they say, okay, yeah, just get back to me then. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, whenever, yeah, next week, whenever you want to get back to me, just let me know. I'm here for you. I'm here to serve you, whatever. And they just let the sale go. You know why they let the sale go and why they don't try to overcome the objection? It's not because they're noble. It's because they don't know what to say. They don't know what to say, and it's uncomfortable, and it's scary, and you don't want to come across a certain type of way. And that's what it comes down to. But a master salesperson knows what to say and when to say it. And if this person says this, then I say that. If they say this, then I say that. You already know what you're going to say. And as a matter of fact, objections are a real thing. And I'm going to go into the next thing, is you have to have a master list, another non-negotiable. You have to have a master list, non-negotiable list of all of the possible objections that you would possibly get based on your niche of target audience and based on the products and services that you offer. So I have an objection list when I sell a book and somebody tells me no. I have a specific list of things of what I would say when somebody tells me no to my book. When somebody says no to my Connected Leaders Academy membership, I have a list of objections that I know I could possibly get. And I know exactly what I'm going to say. When somebody says no to going to one of my events, I know exactly what I'm going to say. When somebody says no to my one-on-one high-level consulting, I know exactly what I'm going to say. When somebody says no to some kind of the virtual conference or whatever it is, any products and services that I offer, I have a master list of objections that are ready to go, that I have studied, that I am aware. I don't have to look at the list. I don't have to have sticky notes like this on the back of my computer or whatever when I'm talking to somebody and say, okay, they said this. What do I say? Let me see here. Give me 1 second, Marianne. Yeah, did you know that? No, I don't. That's an amateur. Let me see. She said to me, no, I can't come to your event. Okay, give me 1 second here. She said she can't come to my event. Okay, that would be objection number 22. Okay, so no, right? I know like the back of my hand, instantaneously, automatically. It's at a level of automaticity. I just know what I'm going to say. As a matter of fact, I add some humor to it. I'm like, Marianne, you know what? I completely understand what you're saying. Many people that have come to my events before felt the same way. And you know what I found about this situation? As a matter of fact, it's this. Very different from what you're looking at, what you're saying. I believe it's a matter of perspective, Marianne. You perceive it to be a matter of cost. I perceive it to be a matter of you can't afford to not be there. And as a matter of fact, this is what, and I just go into it. And I just go into, I already know what I'm going to say. So you have to be that structured, that studied, that practiced, that role played. You have to have all those things ready to go. But guess what? Most people don't do it. So I will end my last few minutes in some interesting ways here. I hope you're ready because I'm about to go rapid fire, as Emilio says. Listen to this. Apple sells innovation, not phones. Did you hear me clearly? Apple sells innovation, not phones. Rolex sells status, not watches. Mm, mm, mm. Lego sells creativity, not toys. Man, oh man, this is juicy. Nike sells motivation, not shoes. Coca-Cola sells happiness, not drinks. Oh man, hope you're keeping up, folks. Tesla sells the future, not cars. I say all that to say, success is about selling emotions, not products and services. Did you catch that? These big tycoon companies are selling emotional things, not products and services. So you have to ask yourself, whatever it is that you're selling, what is that emotion that they're supposed to feel, that they're supposed to connect with, that is going to get them to say, I need that thing because I want to feel this way. And if you don't know what that is, well, that's your homework for tonight. Because you have to be able to articulate your message and your value in a way that connects the emotional dots. All right. And I'm going to end with this. Jordan Belfort. I'm a huge fan of Jordan Belfort. Jordan Belfort says there are 3 tens. This is the 3 tens philosophy. It's called the continuum of certainty. The continuum of certainty. On a piece of paper, if you put a 1 on one side of the paper and you put a 10 on the complete opposite side of the paper and you put a line from 1 to 10. So there's a straight line, there's a 1, and there's a 10. In the middle, there's a 5. So on the one side, right under the 1, write the 2 words, absolute uncertainty. Absolute uncertainty goes right under number 1 at the beginning of that straight line. On the complete opposite end of that straight line, there's a 10. Right under the 10, I want you to write absolute certainty. All right. So under the 1, absolute uncertainty. Under the 10, absolute certainty. In the middle, there's a 5, right? The 5, I want you to write under the 5, sitting on the fence. Okay? Now, this is the exciting part about this exercise. In order for you to close a sale, it has to be emotional, really strong emotion connection. They have to know, like, and trust you, right? All the things that you know that we've talked about already. You have to have all the other things nailed down, the mindset, the scripts, the backdrops to the overcoming objections, all the things. But your prospect has to be at an 8, 9, or 10 for them to say, yes, sign me up. Or yes, send me your link. Or here's my money. They have to be at a 7 at the lowest, preferably an 8, 9, or 10, in order to say, yes, I want to do business with you. If they are below a 5, especially a 3, 2, or 1, that is closer to absolute uncertainty. And no matter what you say at this point, they're not going to do business with you. So I say that to say, if they're on a 5, which is they're sitting on the fence. If they're sitting on the fence, you know what that means? They have a big sign right here on their chest. It's a massive sign that says, please influence me now. If they are sitting on the fence and they're not quite leaning towards this side and not quite leaning towards this side, they're sitting on the fence and they kind of want to do business with you, but they're still kind of uncertain. So they're not really over here, but they're not really over here. They have, just imagine a big sign on their chest that says, please influence me now. I don't know what to do. I need your help to help me make a decision. That's what they're saying to you. So it is your job to give them the absolute certainty by the things that you say. And they have to be a 10, folks. Get this. They have to be an 8 to a 10 in 3 categories, not just one. They have to be a 10 in 3 categories. Number 1 is in your product or your service. Whatever your product or service is, your idea, your concept, product or service, they have to be a 10. If it's guaranteed sale, it has to be a 10. 8 to 10, but let's just say a 10 for the sake of this example. The second 10 that they need is going to be a 10 in you. They have to trust you, right? They have to have a connection. There has to be synergy. There has to be chemistry between you and them. They have to trust you, a 10. And the third 10 has to be in your company. They have to believe in your brand. They have to believe in your business, your company. So if you want to close a sale, it has to have an emotional foundation. They have to believe in your product and service at absolute certainty. They have to believe in you, absolute certainty when it comes to trust, and they have to believe in your company. And in the sales process, in the conversation, you have to hit all 3 of those. 1/3, 1/3, 1/3. Hitting all of those points at a very high level. So by the end of the conversation, guess what? They've been saying yes to you the entire time. They've been doing this and you've been doing this. Isn't this amazing as you're doing this, right? When you're trying to sell them, and they're going to be like, oh, yes, it's amazing. So very, very important. All right. And I'm going to end with this because I got to run. I'm a minute over. This is a quote by Jim Rohn. Jim Rohn said, if you really want to do something, you will find a way. If you don't, you'll find an excuse. If you really want to do something, you'll find a way. If you don't, you'll find an excuse. So my battle cry to all of you today is, if you want to be a master salesperson, you know exactly what to do now. And if you just jumped on or recently and halfway into it, whatever, watch the replay. But you know exactly what to do to become a master salesperson. And if you don't do it, if you don't want it bad enough, guess what? You're going to find an excuse not to do it. And then if the struggle is real, well, if you don't change, nothing changes. So hopefully this was of value to you. Thank you so much, Marianne, for this amazing opportunity. And it was my pleasure.
Best presentation I've ever heard from you. Love it. Absolutely love it. I have copious notes here. Like I don't even like, it's crazy. Thank goodness I got my big giant journal, because I only have like 25 of them floating around the house. That was absolutely amazing. There's some stuff in there that I've actually never even heard, and I've been in sales for a very long time. So I'm going to have to get myself that book. Can you repeat that book again?
Yeah, the book is called The Way, or sort of Way of the Wolf by Jordan. Yeah, Jordan Belfort. And yeah, so anyways, thank you so much, Marianne, for the kind words. Thank you for the platform, for the opportunity. Thank you for all of you who are here live, for all of you catching a replay. Check out my website, connectedleadersacademy.com, www.connectedleadersacademy.com. If you're an entrepreneur and want to maybe connect with other amazing people to grow your business. And stay tuned, folks. I do have a sales course that I've been working on for quite some time. And so many people have been asking me for years, and I said, one day it's coming, and that one day is soon. So stay tuned. If you enjoyed what you heard today, just connect with me on a virtual coffee. Let's chat and see what's up. All right. Thank you so much.
So thank you so much for coming and gracing us all here. I mean, like, you have the most amount of comments here all day. Also, do you have any events coming up? And also feel free to put in whatever links you want on my Facebook underneath the live, because that's where people will see it. Sorry, please continue.
Yeah, I have a number of things. I have a big event in person in October. I have a virtual conference, a global virtual conference in June. I have another event that I'll be doing that I haven't announced yet in September, and some other things happening. So I'll put links in the chat, and thank you so much.
I'm going to be at the big event in October. It's the first weekend.